Our clients are calling us, Gary. They're saying, hey, here's where the numbers are, and here's where the plans are, but our organizational structure is wrong. And now we realize the structure of the organization doesn't support the organization. Talk to us about some key points and some things to think through in this kind of methodology around structure.
Yeah, I love the way you set that up, because these 5 leadership abilities do not only influence each other and support each other, but it has to be all of them. All right. So this is the perfect example of when you want to try and solve a problem with one, right? Okay, we're going to fix this by reorging, right? So I worked with a lot of organizational development teams in large organizations, and they were very skilled at polling the leaders and connecting the vision and the strategy and looking at a structure and creating org charts and then job descriptions, success criteria, new reporting, and well, there's some matrix here and not, and I mean, it looked very impressive on paper. By the time that reorg rolls through and the realization comes in that it didn't really achieve the goal, guess what the solution is? Reorg. Right? Talk about job security, right? For organizational development. They're always going to be in demand because you're never going to get it right that way. Right? So what we do, I talked a little bit, right? So when you delegate and elevate, ultimately that shows up in what we call the accountability chart. And if you are working on simplifying, and again, none of these things happen overnight. You start rooting out complexity. Complexity will keep creeping in. It's entropy. But if you stay diligent about that and make things simpler, that means you're making roles more defined and people's jobs simpler. If you start to systemize and you know exactly what the steps are required, then you can start really understanding what skills and expertise is required to do that. And if you have reduced complexity and you've elevated people into positions, right, and you've got things structured, your accountability chart will inevitably be smaller because you're not filling in a bunch of redundant seats because work is overly complex, okay? So we start with defining what are seats or the roles. So we'll start at the leadership level. What are the 4 to 7 leadership positions? Clearly defined responsibilities or roles. What's the role? What is a sales leader accountable for? What's the CFO accountable for? We never put a name in. You don't put a name into a seat until the structure's built. And it's a forward-looking. What does the structure of the organization need to be to support our business if we hit our goals 6 to 12 months? So you're thinking forward. You're defining roles and structure. You take each leader then and build their structure. That's the accountability chart. Then it's about putting the right people in the right seats, right? So that's a Jim Collins thing. But the way we think about right people, right seats, we simplify it, right? Right people is simply, do they display the core values of the organization? Do they fit the organization? Are they people you want to work with? Gotta have, they have to be the right people, otherwise they're poisoning you. Okay. Right seats, we use a concept we call get it, want it, capacity. Okay. So when you look at a seat, you go, well, Betty's doing this role. Is she good for the company? Does she fit the values? Yeah. Does she get it, want it, have the capacity? Right? So get it. What is get it? Get is like, is it their unique ability? Is it things they're love to do that, that their unique abilities say, yeah, they're excellent at it, right? They've got the job experience and skill set. Want it, right? Do they want it? Okay, I was a manager and a PMO. I didn't want it. I got it. I could do it. I didn't want it, right? And then the capacity. Now, this is where delegate and elevate shows up again, because you're not going to have the capacity to consistently operate and fill that seat and deliver on it if you're not spending your time doing the right work, if you haven't let go of some things that are going to impede you. Now you got to have both. If you put the right people in the right seats, you've got the structure you need. And if your structure is around delivering against your systemized core processes, and the work has been simplified as much as you can, right? And you can predict where you're going to be in 6 to 12 months, so you kind of can predict who you need and what skills you need. You got the whole picture, right? Now you've got an accountability chart. So we don't believe in org charts. We believe in accountability charts.